Hey, welcome to the podcast. I'm William,
And I'm Kat.
and that makes this a dash of info.
Little things you want to know.
So, Kat, every Christmas season, here in the South especially, you hear someone say, "Did you know that Coca-Cola invented the modern Santa Claus?" And it's one of the and it's one of those claims that it sounds true. You got a red suit, rosy cheeks, a Coke in hand, but is it truth or is it a myth?
Well, let's introduce the idea that branding and culture often blend until we forget where one ends and the other begins. And we're going to peel back the layers. Who really created Santa's image? What Coca-Cola did differently? And how a soda company became part of Christmas itself.
Yeah, so I guess to find out the truth, we really need to look at the world before Coca-Cola ever came calling, right?
Hmm.
Santa had many looks way before Coke entered the picture. In the 1800s, Santa's image was still evolving, sometimes tall, thin, sometimes elf-like. Early American writers described him in different ways, a kind bishop, a magical elf, or a jolly old man.
And the image really depended on local traditions, whether Dutch Sinterklaas, British Father Christmas, and even Norse folklore. Some drawings showed him in long robes of brown, green, or blue, but not yet the classic red.
Clement Clark's Moore's 1823 poem, A Visit from St. Nicholas, better known as "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," really kind of helped shift the image. It gave us the reindeer, the sleigh, the chimney visits, and the famous little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly, right?
Hmm.
And this poem turns Santa from a solemn saint into a jolly, playful spirit of Christmas Eve. I can see that. I never really stopped to think about that, but yeah, I love that
Hmm.
poem too, by the way.
Same. And Thomas Nast, which is a political cartoonist for Harper's Weekly in the 1860s to 1880s, was the first to standardize Santa's look, depicted him as a plump bearded and wearing a red outfit trimmed with white fur. And it gave Santa his North Pole workshop, toy making elves, and naughty or nice list. Nast even illustrated Santa with the U.S. flag belt buckle during the Civil War, linking him to an American identity and unity.
So I'm sorry, but I'm trying to picture this. Santa.
America. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
No, you're fine. I'm sitting there thinking about, and I'm not knocking any image here. I'm not. But I just pictured, those bull riding belt buckles. I just picture Santa getting out with his boots, his hat, and his belt buckle, and, you know, America all the way.
Spurs or no spurs on those boots.
Well, I mean, if he's in the sleigh, he didn't really need them, but if he's riding the deer, he needs them. Just saying. Man, we're going to get some hate mail from that one, but by the 1920s, Santa had become a fixture of American holiday culture. Department stores featured live Santas for photo ops and parades. Magazines and advertisements from brands like White Rock Beverages and Colgate, well, they used this red suited Santa to sell their products years before Coke did. And the cheerful, plump Santa was already familiar to most Americans, go back to the point. So when Coca-Cola really joined the picture here in the 1930s, Santa was already wearing red, but what Coke did next changed how the world saw him. And Kat, I say before we get into that, we take a small break.
Sounds good.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Looking for your favorite band, team, or TV show, maybe that movie? Since 1969, Old Glory has been the ultimate destination for officially licensed merchandise, with over 300,000 items in music, sports, movies, TVs, and popular culture. And you have Christmas coming up. Have that hard to find person that you're looking for? Check out Old Glory. At checkout, use our exclusive listener discount code and get 15% off any product. All you have to do is put InfoGo in at checkout. That's InfoGo, at oldglory.com. You can find the link in the show notes.
Are you too hot at night? Well, say hello to the world's softest sheets. Cozy Earth's bamboo sheet set keeps you cool, dry, and comfy all night long. It's made from bamboo. They're moisture wicking, breathable, and get even softer with every wash. Did you even know that you can make sheets out of bamboo? I didn't. I thought that was awesome. And they have pajama sets. Pure cozy elegance, stylish, silky, praised on Good Morning America and in style, and backed by thousands of five-star reviews. You can't beat the 100-night sleep trial and free shipping on over $50 plus a 10-year warranty for sheets. 41% off any product with code INFOGO at CozyEarth.com. Make sure you find the link in the show notes. Well, now that we're back, let's get into the key idea here of what Coca-Cola really did. Well, they didn't invent Santa. They just reinvented how he felt. And the problem they faced was in the late 1920s, and it was widely seen as a summer refreshment, a drink for hot weather. Winter sales lagged, and the company wanted to remind people that Coke was a year-round beverage, and they needed a winter advertising campaign that evoked warmth, comfort, and nostalgia, not just thirst.
Enter 1931 artist Haddon Sundblom. Coca-Cola's ad agency, Dorsey Advertising, well, they commissioned Sundblom, a respected commercial illustrator, to create a new image of Santa Claus. The goal was to show a Santa who embodied the real spirit of Christmas, being generous, joyous, and human, and make people associate Coke with the same warmth. So his first Santa appeared in the Saturday Evening Post in December 1931.
So Sundblom's inspiration did come from Moore's 1823 poem, A Visit from St. Nicholas, and he imagined what that poem's Santa, jolly, chubby, and plump, might look like if he stepped off a page and into real life. And he used a real model, his friend Lou Prentice, a retired salesman, to capture a lifelike expression and natural body language. So later, when Prentice passed away, Sundblom even used his own reflection in the mirror to keep painting Santa.
Huh. His Santa was warm, joyful, and approachable, not stiff or cartoonish. He looked like your favorite grandparent, rosy-cheeked, twinkling eyes, kind smile. He laughed, winked, read letters from children, and of course, paused for a Coca-Cola there. The red suit matched Coca-Cola's branding, but Coke didn't choose red for marketing. The color was already traditional from earlier depictions. So the tone of the ads was new, cozy, personal, human, not just promotional. Notice he wasn't drinking a Pepsi.
Fair enough.
I'm
Uh,
sorry, I had to throw my dig in there.
It'll be all right. But the results of that were stunning. Sunbloom Santa appeared every Christmas for more than 3 decades, from 1931 through the 1960s. The paintings evolved with the times, but always kept Santa's warmth and realism. So each scene played Santa in everyday human moments, taking a break to drink a Coke after delivering toys, or reading a wish list by the fireplace, and sharing smiles with children or Mrs. Claus. The message was subtle but powerful, so Coca-Cola belonged in every joyful moment, even Santa's.
So honestly and truly, the impact here was these ads ran worldwide in magazines, store displays, billboards, and Sunbloom's Santa became so iconic that when people thought of Santa Claus, they pictured his version. Even outside of the US, for millions, this was the image of Santa Claus.
And those ads didn't just sell soda, they sold emotion. And that's why people began to believe Coke had invented Santa himself.
I've often heard that, coming up. But Coca-Cola's reach made their version of Santa, the real one, right? From the 1930s through the 1950s, Coca-Cola Santa was everywhere. His image appeared in national magazines like the Saturday Evening Post, National Geographic, Ladies' Home Journal, billboards, delivery trucks, calendars,
Mhm.
grocery store displays. They all featured Sundblom's smiling Santa raising a bottle of Coca-Cola. Even Coca-Cola vending machines and holiday merchandise use the same artwork. So this campaign became one of the most recognizable annual traditions in advertising. Every Christmas, a new Coke Santa would appear, like a return of an old friend. Do you remember as coming up through the years, like seeing the different artwork on the Coca-Cola packaging and the bottles?
Yes, yes. And I remember the blow up plastic Santas with the Coke bottles in the grocery stores.
Yeah, I do too. I think I've got like a stand up somewhere.
But Coca-Cola's advertising network was massive. So by the 1930s, Coke was sold in more than 40 countries, one of the first truly global brands. And during and after World War II, Coca-Cola expanded its reach even further, supplying beverages to US troops overseas. Soldiers returning home brought the image of Santa and Coke with them, spreading both across the world.
People saw Sunbloom's Santa everywhere. It was in homes, stores, newspapers, year after year. And it was consistent. It was the image made that it just stuck around in your memory, right? Because you saw it
Mhm.
everywhere.
Everywhere.
And I do, and still today you see it everywhere. Before long, his version of Santa wasn't just a Santa, it was the Santa, the one and only Santa.
But of course, other companies began copying the look. Competing brands and illustrators mimicked Sunbloom's design, the twinkling eyes, rosy cheeks, fur-trimmed red suit, and kind smile. So even films and greeting card companies began to adopt that same imagery. Hollywood's mid-century Santas, from Miracle on 34th Street in 1947 to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in 1964, owe visual debts to Sunbloom's work.
Do you still watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, or did your kids still watch it?
Um, we're gonna watch it this year. They're finally getting to the age of paying attention to what's going on.
We would sit down as a family to watch it, and I would be the only one left watching it.
Dang.
I don't know. My boys would sit down and watch it. And my daughter would too, until they got a little older, and then they're like, "No, we're not doing this."
Well, the 1964 version, that's the claymation one, right?
Yeah, with
Yeah.
Yukon Cornelius in there.
Yeah.
I love me some Yukon Cornelius. And Rudolph, I like Rudolph too. I think I like all the characters in there,
Mm-hmm. Me
but
too.
Yukon was always my favorite. Anyway, Coca-Cola didn't invent Santa. They standardized him, right? Uh,
Right.
they were consistent, emotionally warm image became the blueprint for what the world now considers the definition of Santa Claus. So, in advertising terms, it was brand synergy at its finest. You had the red suit, the white beard, the cheerful personality, all perfectly aligned with Coca-Cola's message of happiness and sharing. So, for generations, that version of Santa became, well, the face of Christmas, not because of folklore, but because of marketing.
So where did the myth come from that Coca-Cola invented Santa? The answer lies in timing and association.
So Santa Claus became an annual tradition. From the 1930s through the 60s, Coca-Cola released new holiday ads every winter featuring Sunbloom Santa in fresh scenes, drinking Coke, chatting with children, reading letters, or taking breaks from his deliveries to sit back and, well, have a Coke. So for decades, families saw that Santa every Christmas season in magazines, displays, it was everywhere. And
Even on delivery trucks rolling through small towns.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was everywhere, cardboard stand-ups. And for many children, that cheerful, rosy face Coca-Cola Santa, well, he was the one and only Santa that they ever really knew. I'm thinking about
But
little William standing in the store there looking at, the Coca-Cola life-size Santa.
right, right. With all the smells of a grocery store.
Yeah. And then when the white fudge dipped Oreo came out, I was like, Santa has delivered.
Well, they also had the perfect color connection that sealed the myth. Coca-Cola's brand colors, which are bright red and white, perfectly matched Santa's costume, even though Santa's red suit predated Coke. The company's global visibility made it seem like the colors were chosen for each other, and this visual overlap reinforced the idea that Coke had designed Santa's image, when in truth, it was a clever coincidence supported by repetition.
It was all marketing. See how it
Hmm.
gets in your brain?
Right. Well, we haven't done our episode on the psychology of marketing yet.
No, we'll probably get into that in the first of the year, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't really know. I know we got a lot to record before then too.
Yeah.
Uh Post World War II, marketing and nostalgia. Well, after the war, Coca-Cola became a powerful symbol of American optimism, comfort, and Santa became part of that feel-good image. The rise of television advertising in the 50s. Well, it helped spread the Coca-Cola Santa to a whole new generation. And that nostalgic, it just returns year after year from the 70s and the 80s, along with collectibles, calendars, reprints. This really just kept the image alive long after the campaign ended. And those Coca-Cola Coke Santas from that era, there's some big collectors out there for some of that.
Right. And Coca-Cola Santa appeared in museum exhibits, holiday commercials, and even Christmas cards worldwide. As decades passed, people forgot Nast's earlier Santa or Moore's poetic influence, and they only remembered the smiling man with the Coke bottle.
Explaining the evolution of Santa from Saint Nicholas to Sunbloom, well, it really kind of takes time.
Saying Coca-Cola invented Santa fits neatly into a conversation.
Yeah, but the truth is really more complex. Coca-Cola didn't invent Santa's image. They perfected and popularized it so completely that everyone else, well, it just faded into their background.
Right. So although Coca-Cola didn't invent Santa Claus, but through art, emotion, and brilliant marketing, they gave us the Santa we see in our minds every December. So Thomas Nast defined him. Haddon Sundblom, with a little help from Coca-Cola, really made him come alive.
Yeah, I've always heard that Coca-Cola invented Santa Claus and they invented the image of Santa Claus. That's what I'd heard. And that's where this idea came from. So
I had never heard of that. I had always heard of St. Nicholas before that.
the Coca-Cola didn't invent Santa Claus. They just invented the image that you see.
Right.
That's what I had always heard. But as we've, learned here, they didn't invent that at all. They just exploited the image from the poem, and
Hmm.
that's kind of where we get what we see today.
Right.
But you know, that's pretty much all I've got. I hope you have a Coke and share it.
I will, probably.
I'll share a Coke with you.
Sounds good. If you would like to support this podcast, tell a friend and help get the word out.
If you would like to help us keep the show going, you can do so at Patreon. You can find the link in the show notes.
William and I want to thank you for listening, whether you're new here or have been with us for a while.
Absolutely, thank you.
Join the Facebook group and Info on the Go,
Over there, you can share with us your show ideas.
or ask us a question.
But whatever you do, make sure you hit that subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcast.
Send us a text using the link in the show notes or leave a review.
It really does help others find us. You can also email us
Info on the Go podcast at gmail.com.
and you can also send your show ideas there. And you can find that email address in the show notes. Till next time.
Stay curious.